Good afternoon to everyone joining us today. I am Jackie Hune, the Manager of Exhibits here at NACE International. On behalf of everyone here at NACE International, I want to thank you for your support and participation. Also joining us today on this webcast is David Briley, our Assistant Exhibits Manager, and Diane Gross, Manager of Sales. This webcast will be posted on the NACE website under the Corrosion 2014 Exhibitor tab, listed under the ROI Center Driving Qualified Booth Traffic. Also under the ROI tab, we will have a number of exhibitor how-to articles, Ask the Expert questions and answers, and the Exhibitor Invites program. If you feel like the content of today's webcast is valuable, I hope you can share this with your colleagues. So before I introduce our speaker, you would be interested in an update on the NACE Corrosion Conference this year in San Antonio. To date, we have 69,000 net square feet sold and over 390 companies exhibiting. So it's my pleasure now to introduce one of America's leading exhibitor, consultant, trainer, speaker, and educator. He is the president of Competitive Edge, an exhibitor marketing, education, training, and consulting firm located in Charlotte, North Carolina. He has 27 years of exhibition industry experience and has exhibited at over 200 trade shows. So here today to present state-of-the-art marketing, I will turn it over to Mr. Jefferson Davis.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you to everyone at NACE for putting together this program for your exhibitors. And especially thank you to everyone who's taken time out of your busy schedule to log in to this special exhibitor webcast. It's really great to be exhibiting with and working with an organization like NACE that cares enough about us as exhibitors to actually give us some help on how to make trade shows pay off. And that's what this is all about, is to provide value. As Jackie mentioned, the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center you're seeing on the screen, this is you and your team's 24/7 knowledge portal. You can go there, watch replays, download and read articles, and at any time you can send any questions about exhibiting to us, and I have a team of trade show experts on that will review and respond. So make sure you take advantage of that. So the subject matter of today's, I think, is probably one of the single biggest factors that impacts the overall success of your exhibit. It's driving qualified booth traffic. So in the next 45 to 50 minutes, we're going to take you on a fast and furious journey into a 8-step process that if you'll adapt it and apply it for your situation, it will help you attract enough of the right people to your exhibit. And so that's what we're going to get into today here. So the objectives are, we're going to talk a little bit about trade show attendee behaviors. They've undergone some pretty radical changes over the last several years, and honestly, most exhibitors aren't aware of the changes and haven't adapted their exhibit program to align with these changes. We're going to talk about why pre-marketing your exhibit today is an absolutely essential part of a results-focused exhibiting. We're going to walk you through this 8-step process that's going to show you what to do, when to do, how to do. Okay, then we're going to overview some of the marketing ops that are available through NACE. Many of them are free, okay, so it doesn't get any easier than free. We'll go through that. And then finally, we'll wrap this up showing you on two sizes of exhibitors, a small and a medium, what a integrated pre-show marketing campaign looks like in action. So grab your workbook, grab your pen, turn off your email, turn off your cell phone, and get ready to lay a foundation for success. Okay, so speaking of success at exhibiting, okay, I think an exhibit program, when it's done properly, should do two things. Number one, it should visibly and directly support your company's business objectives. And number two, it should deliver value beyond cost, ideally measurable. So support objectives, value beyond cost. And the way that you get to those outcomes is by focusing on what we like to call the critical exhibiting success factors. You see, the problem with most exhibitors is that they're caught in what I like to call the logistics trap, meaning 95% of their pre-show time is spent on get the space, get the booth, get the products, get the people, get the travel, ship everything there, get it in, get it set up, get it torn down, send it home. And they're kind of living in the logistics trap. And those things have to be done. But the problem is when all you're dealing with is the logistics, all that guarantees is that your booth, your products, and your people show up. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get anything from the big investment you're making in the show. So the way to ensure that you get real value and support goals is focus on 4 critical success factors. Number 1, outcomes. Stephen Covey, in his great book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, said, begin with the end in mind. So what you want to do with outcomes is set specific goals that support your company's sales, marketing, customer relationship management goals, and take advantage of the many, many opportunities that Corrosion presents. Major question that all of us need to ask. When the doors close at Corrosion, 90, 180 days after the show, how will we know we succeeded? A clear answer to that question, backed up with a game plan on how you're going to do that, is the process of exhibiting by objectives. And by the way, there's a great article on the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center on the topic that will take you on a deeper dive of exhibiting by objectives. Second, attraction. Okay, that's the subject matter of today's session, your ability to develop a marketing process that identifies and attracts enough of the right people to your exhibit. For many exhibitors, the single biggest factor that is limiting their ability to get value and results from trade shows is not that the right people aren't at the show. It's that enough of the right people aren't at your booth. Okay, and so we're going to really walk you through today, hand in hand, step by step, on how to tackle this success factor. Then, the experience. The end game is a quality visitor experience that secures a commitment to a next action step with qualified visitors. The experience takes in your booth, your product service presentation, and your staff. And by the way, we have articles up on the Success and ROI Center that address all these topics, so make sure you check those out. And then finally, follow through. Okay, for the unsuccessful exhibitor, when the doors close, the show is over. For the highly successful exhibitor, when the doors close, the real work begins. And so the game plan is we've got to follow up now and take all those commitments that we generated and convert them to action. And if we're chasing ROI, that'll be purchasing action. Then we've got to measure and report our results. So here's a question for you right now as you look at these 4 success factors. How well are you addressing these 4 factors? Give yourself a rating on a 1 to 5. A 5 means very effective. We're doing this really, really well. A 1 means ineffective. We're not addressing this well at all. And anywhere in between, 2, 3, 4, 5. So go ahead and do that now. That'll help you kind of spotlight what areas you need to continually expand your knowledge and your execution around. And I'll close this slide by telling you this. If you do these 4 things well, the question is not, will you succeed at Corrosion? The question becomes, how successful are you going to be? And I know they sound like similar questions, but they're not even in the same realm. So rate yourself 1 to 5. Commit to learning as much as you can about executing around these 4 critical success factors, and your company wins the game of exhibiting. That's what we're talking about here today. So let's move to the topic of attraction. Okay, that second pillar. And here's a funny cartoon from the Dogbert series, but I think it really brings it home. You know, the guy walks up to the booth. We've got an engineer here. Look at him. If that was ever an engineer, there he is. And he's got his little bag there, and he's, you know, what kind of free stuff you got? You throw a few pens in there. He doesn't want to give eye contact, and he's on his way. So really, here's the question that we want to ask. Is this the type of visitor you want to see at your booth? The bigger question is, who do you want to see at your booth? clarifying your answers, okay? Clarifying your answers of who and doing things between now and when you arrive at Corrosion will slant the playing field in your way. So we don't want just anybody. And by the way, jot this phrase down. What you use to attract is who you'll attract. So if you use food, you'll attract hungry people. If you use contests, drop your card in the fishbowl to win this or that, you'll attract contestants. So you got to get crystal clear about who you really want at your booth and what you're going to do to attract them. I don't want trick-or-treaters like this guy at my booth, and I don't know that you do either. Sometimes it'll give us the illusion that we're having a good show because at least we have booth traffic, right? But are they the right people? You don't need a lot of people. In fact, you're going to run a formula here that's going to tell you the exact number of how many people will make the show a success for you, and it's going to surprise most of you. But what you do need are the right people at your booth, and that's what we're talking about here today. So let's take a peek into some of the changes, the attendee behavioral changes that have been happening over the last several years. I think it's important that every exhibitor know these, number one, and that they adapt their exhibiting strategy, number two. So, number one, what we're finding is that they tend to be sending smaller groups and teams from the organization with more authority. The days of just kind of clearing out the office or the facility and sending everybody out because there's nothing better to do, those days are long gone. Okay, when we look at who's attending, we're finding out that the job functions and titles are higher than they were in the past. Second, many of them tend to be registering closer to showtime. Instead of being 3, 4, 5 months out, it might be 4, 6, 8 weeks out. Okay, so that doesn't mean you can't market to them. That just means you better have your plan prepared and ready to launch closer to the showtime, which we're going to help you do today. 3, they're spending fewer total number of days at the show. The average attendee, according to the research, used to spend anywhere from 2.8 to 3.9 days at the show. The latest research on attendee behaviors is telling us they're spending on average 1.6 to 2.5. Now, hear me when I say this. This does not mean that they do not value shows as much. In fact, our research is finding they value shows more than ever. But, like you, me, and everybody else, they're under more time pressure due to downsizing and having to do more, so they don't have as much time. In response to that, they're coming to the show looking for more content and more usable information. They're looking to the educational sessions. They're looking to you, the exhibitors, for content and usable information. 3 out of 4 attendees are planning their agenda before they get to the show. 3 out of 4, okay? The average attendee will stop, cross the carpet line, and engage about 26 to 31 exhibits on average. Some more, some less, okay? And finally, half of those exhibit stops are pre-planned. They've already figured out half of them before they ever get to the venue. So I want you to stop, take a deep breath, and I want you to look at these 7 behavioral changes because I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind here. In spite of all these, less than 20% of exhibitors are executing well-conceived pre-show marketing campaigns. 80% of exhibitors are doing what I call exhibiting by hope. They rent space, they show up, and they hope. You, being in this webcast today, are not part of that group, okay? There's an old saying I learned years ago, if you want to succeed, find out what failures and the average are doing, and don't do that. I'm telling you, the average exhibitor is not succeeding at shows, and it has nothing to do with the show, and yet they're very quick to blame the show. Okay, when 8 out of 10 exhibitors are renting space, showing up, and hoping, you can see where the problem is. But you're on the inside now. You've listened to this webcast, and you've got serious competitive advantage if you'll take and apply what we walk you through here today. So the question now becomes then, if, the trick-or-treater like that last one, the candy bowl and the fish bowl, is not how we attract attendees. How do we? Here's another hilarious cartoon from the Dogbert series. He says that your booth has to be attention grabbing. You know, you can use magic tricks, special effects, raffles, and booth babes. And he gave really great advice. He says for the best result, combine all four and create the illusion that you're raffling off the booth babes. Okay? Funny cartoon, and yet not the secret to attracting attendees. Remember what I said earlier? What you use to attract is who you'll attract. So what is the secret? Here's the secret. It is running an 8-step planning process that we have spent the last 25 years developing, refining, executing with clients of all sizes, 10 by 10, 20 by 20, 50 by 50, doesn't matter. And by following this process, my clients of where we've done tracking have been able to generate over $500 million in combined exhibiting results. Why? Because they've been able to get enough of the right people to their exhibit. So grab your pen, let's roll up our sleeves, and we're going to tear through all 8 steps of this process right now. Step 1, you always begin with the end in mind. I want to ask you right now in your workbook, I want you to circle, check, or underline what you believe to be your top 3 exhibiting goals. Ask yourself, why are you exhibiting? Look at this list. Now, hey, you may have reasons that are not on this list, and that's fine too, but I want you to pick your top 3 right now. Go ahead and do that. I'll give you just a moment. All right, so hopefully you have identified your top 3, okay? And it's important you move from reasons like lead generation to SMART goals. By closing time, we will have generated at least 50 qualified leads. So it's important you move from reasons to goals. And again, I want you to go read the article on that on the Success and ROI Center, because that's going to give you a lot of input on how to do that. Step 1, clarify your goals. Step number 2, okay? Create what we call an ideal visitor profile. This is priceless, okay? This show, Jackie, what are you anticipating just in ballpark numbers? What are you anticipating in terms of attendance at the upcoming show?
I'd say the show probably about 6,500.
6,500. Okay, so here's the big aha, what that should mean to everybody. 2 things. Number 1, not all those people are your ideal visitor, 1. And 2, there's way more attendees than you could ever dream about handling. So what I'm asking you to do in step 2 is get out a magnifying glass and clarify who you're defining as your ideal visitor. And you'll see on the left of the screen here the specialty, okay, the type of facility, the sector, the industry sector, the job titles and functions, if geography plays a role, if size of company plays a role, okay? And this, on the right of the screen, the 13 industry sectors that are represented are here, and the specific job classifications are here, okay? So I want you to sit down and craft a profile. We are looking for these industry sectors, these types of companies, operations, or facilities within these sectors, these job functions and titles, and these geographical areas. Okay, this is called your profile. You're going to use this to build internal lists. You're going to use it to build external lists. And equally important, now that you have your profile written, I'm going to have you answer a very critical question. Relative to what you market, to what you sell, what you deliver, as you look at this profile, the ideal visitor profile, what are their problems, needs, bottleneck, concerns, downtimes, pain points? Okay, I get away from the physical product or service you sell and identify the problems that you solve, okay, and that is going to be a central part of your messaging in how you grab people's attention both pre and at the show and drag them to your booth. Okay, so you got a 2-part exercise here. Number 1, determine your ideal visitor. Number 2, okay, jot down what problems are they having what's going on that we can help them solve, address, gain, seize, avoid. And now you're starting to really build a marketing machine here, okay? Now, there's another piece in profiling under step 2. So there would really be 3 parts to this. This one is priceless, okay? If you get nothing else out of today's webcast, but you use this one, I'm telling you this one's a game changer. I call it the CPS triangle. The base of the triangle is red. This is customers you are now and have done business with. Here's the rule. Never, ever go into a key industry show like Corrosion without reaching out and touching your active and inactive customers, whether you think they're coming or not. You got to know that the competition is knocking at the door real hard in those days and weeks leading up to showtime and at the show. 4 different objectives that you could set. Relationship management, probing for additional opportunities within the account, keeping the ears to the ground for change, and advocacy. And I'll show you how to put this together in an action plan in a moment. So you start at the base and start building a list. I want you literally, within the next 5 to 7 days, ask your entire sales, dealer, distributor, reseller, your channel to start putting together a list of customers, 1, and 2, setting 1 or more of these objectives for the interaction at the show. Now, you guys want to know where the quick cash flow is it shows? You want to know how to literally get return on investment by closing time or often within 30 to 45 days? I know exactly how to do it. And it's focusing on the green, the right side of the triangle, the group that we call prospects. You already have people that you're in the sales cycle with. How about we use the show intelligently to advance prospects to the next step in the sales cycle? So what I want you to do is ask your sales team, your dealer distributors, to sit down and create a list of every prospect they are currently in sales dialogue with. I want them to identify what step of the sales cycle are they. I want them to ask the question, how can we best use Corrosion to move these prospects that are already in our sales cycle to the next step in the cycle? I've had clients literally pick up tens of millions of dollars just by focusing on prospects and using the exhibit to move them to the next step in the sales cycle. So the left-hand side of the triangle, blue, suspects. Okay, suspects are profile matches that you did on the previous slide. You have no meaningful dialogue with them yet. You have one objective for engaging them pre, at, and post-show. Get a foot in the door. Okay, so here's your game plan. 6 to 8 weeks before showtime, sit down, have your sales, dealer, distributors build a list of all 3. Ask them to submit a minimum of X names. 5 customers, 5, 10, 10, 10, whatever. 2, set objectives for the customer and prospect interactions. 3, have at least 3 personal contacts with every name on their list leading up to showtime. 4, go for either confirmed appointments. We're going to meet Tuesday at 2 to 2:15 in the exhibit, or verbal commitments. I can't set a day and time, but I'll definitely be meeting with you at the show. And build the list, have everybody submit the list, and if you really want to kick this program off well, put a contest in play. The dealer, the distributor, the rep that gets the highest number of their CPS list to the booth, dangle a prize for them. If I stopped this webinar now and said I'm not going to share anything else with you, just this strategy, and you took this to heart and went out and applied it, I'm telling you, you'd be in the top 10% of exhibitors in America. I'm telling you, you'd be on your way to one of the best shows that you've probably had in your company history. It's a bold promise, but I can back it up with 25 years plus experience of doing this and hundreds of millions of dollars in results. This is a game changer. Okay? Now, let's go to our third step. Grab your pen, grab a calculator. I'm going to have you run your number. This number that you're going to run here is one of the most important numbers you will ever run. It's called exhibit interaction capacity. Let me preface it. Trade shows are about face-to-face contact. Any real value, any real results that you get from it are going to come from your ability to put your company identity, your products and your services, and your staff face-to-face with people, okay? So this formula will help you calculate how much is enough, okay? Corrosion has 19 exhibiting hours. Write that down. You can't change that. That's fixed, okay? We're going to call that your playing field, okay? Now, these numbers in blue are your numbers, so listen carefully. How many people are going to be working your exhibit on average consistently during all 19 hours? Write your number down and multiply the two together. Rule of thumb, 50 square feet per exhibit staffer, meaning you got a 10 by 10 booth, 2 staffers, maybe 3 if you're light on exhibit property, furnishing, and equipment. Don't overcrowd your booth with your staff. It's the worst mistake you can make. Okay? So write your number in, multiply it. You have your total staff hours. Next variable, a conservative target number of interactions per hour per staffer. Conservative, 3. What am I telling you? Average hour in a booth, each one of your booth staffers is on target task to talk to 3 people in an hour. That is 20 minutes to find, engage, qualify, present, and get a commitment to a next step. Does that feel realistic to you? Given there's 6,500 attendees, I would think it is. 4 is in the middle. 5, for some of us, might be on the aggressive side. So here's your assignment. Pick a number between 3 and 5. Then multiply staff hours by it, and you have got your magic number. Okay? Your job between now and when you arrive at Corrosion Expo, write this down. Get in the mind, get on the agenda of at least whatever your number is, 171, 285. And by the way, don't pick a range. Pick a specific number, 3, 4, or 5, and run your capacity. And that's all you need to think about now in terms of your pre-marketing between now and showtime. I'm telling you, gang, it is a wonderful feeling to walk into a show. Let's say my capacity is 171. I walk into the show with 45 preset appointments. I walk into the show with 80 verbal commitments. Anything that falls in from the aisles is like the icing on the cake, okay? So exhibit interaction capacity, this is a game changer. Now, see, you don't care if the show has 5,000 attendees, 500 attendees, 50,000 attendees. It doesn't matter. What matters is you have the capacity to interact with 171, okay? And just make sure that the show has more than enough of the right attendees to you, and you're in the right show. Your only job is get in their mind, get on their agenda. You do that, I'm telling you, you're on your way to one of the best shows in your company's history. Now, let's do a quick poll here. I want to find out what percentage of your exhibit budget you currently allocate toward promoting your booth, toward driving booth traffic. I'm going to launch the poll right now. Fastest fingers, everybody click the radio dial button that applies. 0, none. 1 to 5%. 6 to 9. 10 to 14. 15% plus. Fastest fingers, I'm looking for 100% participation here. If for some reason you got distracted by your email or a document on your desk, push it aside. Promise you these next 30 minutes are the money spot here we're talking about. All right, we've got a good turnout. We've got well over 85. We're pushing 90%. Let me post and show the results. Okay. 19% of us don't allocate toward anything. I'm going to ask you to seriously reevaluate that. And it doesn't matter how small you are, you know, whether you're a 10 by 10, 20 by 20, 50 by 50. And I'm going to ask you to go back and revisit the slide on changing attendee behaviors and the 4 critical success factors. 52% of you are in that 1 to 5 range. 15% of you are in the 6 to 9 plus. 7%, 10 to 14, and 15% plus. Thank you for participating in the poll. Let me give you some research. 2012 study, Center for Exhibition Industry Research. The average exhibitor allocates 6% of their total show dollar toward promoting their exhibit. Now, here's that rule again. If you want to succeed, find out what the average is doing and don't do it. The average is not succeeding. I'm going to suggest that you go to a minimum of 15%. So our fourth step here is to budget enough promotional resources. So here's your assignment. Take your total show budget, multiply it by 0.15 at least, and there you go. And that's the funds that I want you not to spend. I don't believe in spending when it comes to trade shows. I believe on investing. I want you to invest that money to the highest and best use to drive enough of the right people to your booth. Now, there are times when you're going to want that budget to be even higher, or you're maybe going to want to go up to 20 or 25%. When you're in a really big show, you know, like you go into some of these larger shows like OTC or other events that have 2,500, 3,000 exhibitors, big show. You got a little booth, right? You look at your booth on that little dot on that map. You don't like your location. You're concerned about where you're at on the show floor. The audience that attends the show is a perfect match for you. These are all times when you can and should be allocating even more. Okay, so here's what I want to say to you, okay, is that if you're under the 15% mark, I want you to show your boss this chart. I can make your boss a guarantee, a flat-out guarantee off this chart, and here it is. If you don't get enough of the right people to your exhibit, all these other areas, exhibit space, exhibit, show services, shipping, T&E, all these other areas will end up as an expense. I can also make you a promise. If you do get enough of the right people to your exhibit, I can guarantee you that all these other areas will end up as an investment that positions your program for ROI. So I would suggest showing this to your boss, okay, and going back and fighting for some more funding in this area. You don't have to. I mean, you could exhibit by hope if you want. Rent space, show up, stand around and hope enough attendees go to the show, hope enough get in the exhibit hall, hope they pass your booth, hope something in your booth makes them want to stop and engage. But if you want to leverage the game, virtually guarantee that you win the game of exhibiting, that's why we're talking here today, okay? So let's do our second quick poll of the day here. Now, we have 4 steps so far. Let's move into our second poll. I want to find out about your acquisition and use, when they're available, of attendee mailing lists, pre-registered post-show lists. You'll see a poll on your screen right now. Do you acquire and use trade show attendee lists? Yes or no? And if so, is it only pre, or is it post, or is it both? Okay, we've got about 70%, over 70% in. Hey, thanks for participating today, too. Really appreciate you not only being on the webcast, but being, giving us your feedback on the poll. So I'm going to post the results here. 22%, no. 22%, only the pre. 7, only the post. 48% pre and post. Let's talk about list sources, the best list sources, okay? Number 1, pre-reg attendee list. It's number 1. And guess what in this show? Both lists are not only available, but they're available for free. Now, I don't see any reason why the 22% who said no and the 29% that said only pre or post aren't acquiring both of these. You guys know in most shows, they'll charge you anywhere from $500 to $1,500 to acquire that list. NACE, for Corrosion, gives it to you for free. Doesn't get any easier than free. Previous and post-show attendees, the second best source. Your company database, remember the CPS model I showed you? The third source. previous people that visited your booth at this show and other shows that are related, and they're within geographical striking distance. Anybody that's hit your website, called your company, inquired about your products, okay? Distribution channel partners, remember we talked about them working through your distribution channel? Trade publication readership lists, price lists, okay? So what you want to do here in step 5, you want to make your list count at least 3 times your interaction capacity. Okay, so if you had the capacity for 100, let's just round up, say 200 interactions, I'd like your list to be at least 600 names deep. Why? You're not going to get 100% response to your campaign. It is possible that you can get 20, 30%, especially if you're following our game plan here. Okay, so step 5, let's build our lists. Now, I'm going to throw it open in terms of I want you right now to stop and think, man, he's throwing a lot of content at me here. This question has flashed in my mind. I want you to right now go to your question queue. You'll see it over there on the side. Type your question, press send. Because I've still got quite a bit of ground to cover, I'm going to pick up these questions on the back end. And by the way, at any time during this webcast, when that question flashes into your mind, you don't have to wait, and you can submit more than one question. So type away, send your questions, and we're going to attack those. All right, let's keep rolling here. Whew, the first 5 steps are foundational steps. Identify exhibiting goals. Create your ideal visitor profile. Run your exhibit interaction capacity. Allocate enough for marketing your exhibit. What was the other one? Put together your lists and make them 3 times your interaction capacity. All foundational stuff. That's what builds your plan. Now we got to execute. So here we go. Number 1, as you think about marketing, you're going to have to look at all these different media options that are available. I want to share some of what I call the 4 C's to marketing success. People ask me all the time, they go, Jefferson, what is the single best media for marketing my exhibit? My answer, always the same. No single best media. The magic is in the mix. So it's a combination of show-specific media, industry media, and direct marketing media being sent from your organization that makes this work for you. Next, captivating message, consistent design theme. Your customers and prospects are not sitting around waiting for your marketing message. Your marketing message is going to have to interrupt them and cause them to pay attention. The fastest way to interrupt in marketing today is to have crystal clear understanding of the problems and the challenges your audience is facing and dangle problems and challenges in your marketing. Don't just say, visit Jones Distributing or Consulting booth 147 at Corrosion. Worthless, meaningless, means nothing. Say, hey, too much downtime on your equipment? Find practical solutions at Jones Consulting booth 137. The design theme throughout all your pieces, very consistent, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. All you got to do in your pre-show campaign is communicate 4 specific messages. What we do, why they should care, problems, challenges, opportunities, who we are, where and how to find us. That's it. The job is not to tell the whole story. The job is to have them see a postcard, read an email, see an ad, visit a website and go, man, I have got to learn more about this. Where do they learn more? At your booth. Okay? Next, there's magic in frequency. So be creative. We're trying to land at least 3 direct hits with our ideal visitor profile lists in the weeks leading up to showtime. Maybe 6 weeks, 4 weeks, a week and a half prior to showtime. And it seems to work best when we hit it through multiple media. Okay, so speaking of media, selecting media, as you begin to look at all the stuff available, there's a lot of things to consider here. Number 1, always go back to your goals. Why? Certain media supports certain objectives better than others. Example, let's say that you tell me that one of your goals is to increase your market visibility in the corrosion marketplace, and you decided that the only strategy you were going to use was direct mail. What's the problem with that? Is can you afford to mail the entire universe? Probably not. So you would be bringing in things like print ads in journals and publications. You would be bringing in things like web ads on the right sites. You would be doing, see what I mean is that different media support different objectives. So as you think about a media, always think about your objective. Second, look at your budget. Third, make sure that it's a media that you have the capability to execute effectively. If you don't have the capability, that doesn't mean you can't use it. It means you've got to get help. Okay, there is a science to making email work. There's a lot of knowledge out there on how to do it. Okay, there is a science to designing a direct mail piece that works. There's a science to designing a print ad, a web banner or button ad. Okay, and so get expert help when you need it. Okay, don't just put it out just to put it out. Make sure that it interrupts, engages, educates, and has a clear call to action. Number 4, look at the timing. And number 5, here's a big one for each of you, okay? You know your customers. I think you should engage your customers and ask them what media are they paying attention to and what sort of information, messaging, and offers are they most likely to respond to. Your audience will tell you if you ask them. Don't be shy about going to your customers and asking. Success leaves clues. Ask your customers. They'll tell you, okay? So, general media options. There are 5 buckets, if you will. Number 1, print and display advertising. There's show-specific, trade publications and media, and then there's industry-specific media, like the show, program, and journal. I think I said those backwards, but you see what I mean. Show-specific, industry-specific. So print and display advertising. Next, PR. Advertising we pay for. Publicity we pray for. Advertising and PR combined dramatically increase the power of it. So getting a hold of a list of media that's likely to be covering, attending the show, sending press releases up front, bringing press releases to the show, if a press room's available, doing that. And then you've got your electronic media, your web, the internet, be it search engine, pay-per-click, or Google, getting your Google listing, making sure that your website is robust and interactive. Social media, okay, a whole other topic. We can do a whole webinar on that one. Email, and even voice broadcast, okay? Number 4, direct mail. Very few exhibitors are sending pre-show mail. Guess what? Great time to get back in the mailbox. Why? The clutter is in the email box. The clutter is not in the business-to-business mailbox anymore. Now, am I saying that you should not use email? No. I'm saying that mail, email, print combined is a lethal 1-2-3 punch. And finally, personal contact. Okay, so here's what I'm asking you to do is you put together your integrated, targeted pre-show marketing campaign. Ideally, you'll have at least one thing going in all 5 areas. If you can't do 5, do 4. If you can't do 4, do 3. But here's the thing. Don't try to win a race with a one-legged horse, okay? It's kind of hard to win a race, okay? You got to have some legs. You have to have 4 legs on a horse to run, okay? So ideally, I would be moving toward at least 4, okay? And so pick that combination of media. Now, okay, make sure you're using the latest things. Personalized postcards. You can get postcards out the door for under $1 a card. Personalized URLs. Pearls that go as part of your campaign that have someone's name in the line. Audio email, video email, embedding links of YouTube. Voice broadcast, the ability to deliver a message to the voice mailbox. Okay, another powerful tool. Setting up a microsite or a landing page that has a needs assessment and an appointment center. Using relevant social media. Deep topic. My main thing there is you got to know what media your audience is paying attention to. Blogs, integrating QR codes into any and all of your media. So there's a lot of stuff you can do here. So what I'm trying to do is kind of give you the big general kind of, okay, here's the buckets. Here's some of the cool latest things that are really working to guide you in selection. Okay, so with that, I'm going to bring David Briley on from NACE just to give you just a very quick high level of some of the free marketing opportunities that are available to you through NACE. So David, take it away. David, it's Jefferson. Take it away if you're with me. I apologize. You were muted. My bad.
Yep. Hello, everyone. It's David, and I want to tell you about the free marketing opportunities NACE is offering to its exhibitors for Corrosion. Number one, we're doing exhibitor listing with company name, contact info, booth number on the Corrosion website and the interactive floor plan. Number two, we have the exhibitor listing description in the final program, which is going to be given out during registration to all the attendees on site. And number three, we have the company listing in the February issue of Materials Performance. Number 1, 2, and 3 really go hand in hand, helping customers know who's going to be, that you're going to be at the show and where you're going to be located. And for number 4, and one of my favorites, is the exhibitor invites. This is a free email marketing tool that allows exhibitors to reach their customers and prospects with customized email invitations. Jackie and I recently attended Expo here in Houston, and exhibitor invites was offered to their participants, and the tool really worked well. Both Jackie and I were actually receiving the invites, and I learned a lot about it, and actually directed us to a couple of customers on site. So I'm really happy about that one. And number 5, the pre and post show attendee contact information. This is a mailing list, so you could send out, do direct marketing phone calls. And the last thing I just want to say is, please, for 1, 2, and 3, if you haven't got in your company description to Jackie or I, please do so. It'll help the attendees know more about your company and what you have to offer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, David. So again, these are free opportunities. Make sure you use all these. And Jackie, I did get a question in the queue. How do exhibitors access the attendee lists?
Jefferson, yes, the attendee list, we will be sending out a free list at the end of January. So I'll send that to all the contacts I have, exhibitor contacts, and then also we send one out after the show. This year, just to let you know, we'll probably send one. We'll send one the end of January, but we're probably going to send another one when it gets really close to conference, so they can have an updated list.
Okay, thank you. So the list is free. It sounds like it'll be sent automatically, and it sounds like, but also be proactive on that and reach out and make sure you ask for that. Okay, so I'm going to have Diane Gross with NACE come on. Diane has somehow logged in as an attendee versus a panelist, Diane, but I do have your mic open right now. And Diane's just going to give us a very quick high-level peek at some of the advertising and sponsorships that are available through NACE.
Thank you, Jefferson. I hope that everybody can hear me. That was a little bit of a challenge for me to get on. I wanted to let you know about the advertising that is available. Materials Performance Magazine is circulated to 32,000 members, and our February issue will be closing within the next 2 weeks, and you have the opportunity to advertise within our magazine and to put your booth number there and to be part of the information that is being put out about the entire conference. So it's a great vehicle to be in. We also have our final program, which will be distributed. You can advertise in the final program. Every attendee uses that final program to decide where they're going to go, what seminars they're going to attend. It has the map in there. It has all their information. We have the product showcase. If you have a product that you would like to have showcased, we'd be happy to, if there's a whole section that we have that you can have your product there. It's a nominal fee, but it's a great opportunity for people to actually see your product. We have the web tracker, which is also a great opportunity. You can advertise on the NACE website on our homepage. Also, we have our sponsorships that are available to you. At this point, there's not a lot of sponsorships still available, but if you're interested, we would be happy to try to get you more actively involved in what's available.
All right, thank you, Diane. Yeah, and we're not here to sell really anything to anybody here today, but we do think that it's real important as an exhibitor, as you think about this topic of pre-marketing, that you understand the breadth of what's available. And then also a suggestion that I want to make as an exhibitor myself, I think it's real important that you view Jackie and Diane and David and the entire NACE team as your marketing partner. If you're serious about getting trade show results and you're working through your goals, your target audience, your budget, your internal lists, contact the NACE team and tell them what you're trying to accomplish, and they'll work with you and help you put together a campaign that works. They want you to succeed at exhibiting, and that's why they're investing in programs like this. They know the audience, they know the media, and they're a tremendous resource. So I think we as exhibitors need to take better advantage of knowledge and the resources that are available and really view the show management team as our partners, because they really do want you to succeed. Okay? So any questions you have about any of these media for advertising sponsorships, start with Diane. Any of the free marketing ops, contact Jackie or David. And if you're working with a direct account exec that I don't know about, then contact them, but take advantage of it. Another open link here. I got just maybe 5 more minutes of content at best, but another good time to go. Questions have flashed into my mind. Let me go ahead and type that question and press send. Go ahead and do that now. And as you're doing that, I'm going to cover the last 2 steps here. Okay, so as a trade show marketing consultant, okay, I put on my marketing hat for NACE. I'm acting as if I'm an exhibitor in this show. So I'm a little guy. I'm in a 10 by 10 booth. I'm investing $2,800 in my floor space. So my budgeting rule of thumb is 3 to 5 times. I'm going to take my floor space budget, and that's going to give me my total show budget. From that, a number or percentage will be allocated toward promoting my exhibit. My goals, I'm trying to really increase my visibility and awareness in the marketplace. I want to drive booth traffic to generate leads that I can convert to sales after the show. So what would an integrated campaign, given this size and this budget range and with these type of goals, look like? Well, number one, always start with that CPS strategy with my sales team. I'm having them build the lists, do the 3 touches starting 6 weeks before showtime. Second, I'm going to take a peek and see what the show organizer's doing in terms of social media. And are there any social media channels, groups, or anything set up that I could leverage into and use as a promotional tool? I'm going to work carefully on my company description, and I'm going to make sure that I write a sizzling company description that has a great headline that immediately tells the problems I solve. And then I'm definitely going to be using the Tracker web link program so I can keep track of my views and my links. The Exhibitor Invites program is free, so I'm going to be taking my customer prospect list and loading it into that and running that. I'm going to acquire an exhibit, get hall passes. I'm definitely getting a hold of the pre-reg attendee list, and I'm going to mail for my general group an oversized postcard with immediate linkage to the show, a strong headline, problem-focused, see, learn, do, get. And I'm going to mail more personal invitations to my higher-level contacts. And then I'm going to get the post-show list and follow up after the show. And that would be an example of an integrated campaign that a small exhibitor can and should execute. And if you did that, odds are really good that you're going to get a boatload of the right kind of traffic at your booth. Now, I stepped it up. I'm a medium or large exhibitor. I'm in a 20 by 20. You can see my floor space cost, my total show budget. I have similar goals, but I have 2 additional goals. I have a new product I'm introducing, and I want to get in a thought leadership. I want to position my company as thought leaders. So I will do similar things to the smaller exhibitor, but I'm going to access the media list and do press releases to the trade pubs. I'm going to use the press room at the show. I am going to place my product in the product showcase because it's new. I'm going to run print ads in the materials performance special sections. I'm definitely getting into Corrosion final program with a print ad. You'll see a banner button or skyscraper, whatever's available on the website. And I'm going to sponsor the hotel room key and a symposia coffee break because I want my brand linked to education. Finally, I'll get the post-show attendee list. So this is a great little snapshot that shows you how to, in a one text, get your cost, your budget, your goals, and just a broad brush list of your media. So what would an integrated campaign look like? Remember earlier I said consistent message, consistency in design. So here's the print component. Here's an example, okay? You would see this in the trade publications. You would see this in the final program. Strong color, big headline, clear call to action. Then I would be following that up with a mailer, an oversized postcard mailer that carried the same theme and message. Notice I'm using personalized Nancy up here on the left. I'm using a personalized URL on the postcard. Then I've built email lists, so I'm going to do a 2-part HTML email, carrying it through with the Perl in the email. Then I'm setting up a landing page or a microsite for the show where all of my media will pull you here. When you click enter, I've got a quick 5-question needs assessment. You have the ability to schedule appointments to this site, and as soon as you enter the site and leave, it automatically prints out a page for you to bring to the booth to pick up a reward. And that would be an example of an integrated campaign using print, using mail, using email, and using web. Okay? So finally, step 8, and we're about ready to wrap here. Covered a lot of ground here, okay? I don't do all this just to say I did it. I do this because I'm trying to build a replicable pre-show marketing system that I can adapt and apply for every show on my calendar. So I'm going to measure. I'm going to make a list. What media did I use? When was the media deployed specifically? What was my cost of the media and how many impressions, responses, pieces mailed, emails sent? I'm going to be looking for the response rate to traceable media. I'm going to train my booth staff to ask every visitor, how did you hear about our exhibit? I'm also going to put on my lead card, I'm going to have that question in the media that I use listed so we can capture, so I know what's working. Then I'm going to step back after the show and analyze all this, and I'm going to look at what worked, which media worked, what messaging worked, timing, all of that. Then I'm going to draw some lessons from what I did, and then finally I'm going to take the best of it and I'm going to fine-tune it, and I'm going to use a similar campaign for my next show. So we have covered a lot of ground in an hour here. We have walked you through how attendee behaviors have changed, the 4 critical success factors that virtually guarantee a successful exhibit. We've walked you through 8 specific steps on how to build and execute a pre-show marketing campaign. And if you'll use what you learned in this webcast, you will be in the top 10% of exhibitors in America. So I'm going to take a look at the question queue, and while I do, are there any closing comments from NACE that anyone would like to share?
Hi, Jefferson. I think you did a great job. I found it to be you covered so many great things, and we really appreciate you taking the time to do this for us.
Thank you. You know, there's a lot more that could be said on this topic. I feel like we've kind of scratched the surface here, and I really want to encourage exhibitors to visit the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. It's a priceless resource. It's free. Bookmark it, share it with everybody on your exhibiting team. And most importantly, use what you learned here today, because I promise you that whatever you're getting from trade shows, I'll bet you're only picking the low-lying fruit. And my many years experience tells me that if you'll get focused and you'll execute, what you can get from Corrosion done properly will blow your mind. You've got the opportunity. You've got an incredibly committed team at NACE. You've got a great show here with Corrosion. You've got all of the resources and information you need to make the show a success. So I want to close this by wishing everybody a Happy New Year. Thank you for logging into this, and most importantly, take action on what you learned, okay? Knowledge is not power. Knowledge applied is power. Thanks for logging in. Everybody have a wonderful day. We look forward to seeing you at Corrosion.